Looks like I'm seeing double today. Double Miatas, double trouble. Double the bill though. Let's get started. This is quite shocking. It's totally unplanned, but it happens in the shop a lot more than we'd like to admit. Two separate people from two separate cities that know nothing about each other, not even connected at all, show up on the same day with identical, I mean identical cars. It's strange. I've seen it a lot more than I'd like to admit, a lot of times. Today we're going to look at these two Miatas. This one is a 90. This one is a 91. But except for a few small differences, they're almost identical. One of them has some timing belt possible issues that needs to be done. Another one just needs an inspection. Oh, and also, by the way, one of them's owned by, imagine this, Mr. White. And his car's white. Which one is his? Can you guess? Anyways, we got two cars to look at today. We're going to do quick inspections on both of them and show you how what it looks like a timing chain on these cars is actually still a timing belt. Let's start with the 90. One difference to see right off the bat is it has little tow hooks on the front and the grille on the 90. And as we see, the Mazda symbol is opposite. One's under the driver's side, one's under the passenger side, but the 91 does not have the tow hooks.
We get pop-up headlights.
Yep, these are the years of pop-up headlights. They're so cool. Even the wheels are identical from one car to the next. Obviously the tires aren't going to be, but same color, same wheels, same packages. Mostly identical car. This one says Miata and everything on the back, but it does have a sticker that says Diamond. I'm not sure what that means or what's going on with that. But as we go over to the 91, it's more of the same. Same wheels, pretty much same everything. We do see on the 91 a roll bar that's aftermarket that's been installed for safety. So if the vehicle ever rolls, it doesn't land on your head. They did not come with that. Both are in very good shape though. They're very nice. Let's go ahead and get both hoods open and start seeing if there's any differences there. So at first look, if you take a look at either one of these, just a quick glance, you can see no difference. All the connectors, all the hoses, all the linkages, everything is the same. Even over here, everything is the same. Same labels, same stickers. We do see, in addition to aftermarket cruise control, we do see that on this one. On the 90, we do not have the cruise control added. Everything on these cars could be swapped like for like from one side to the other, and everything would bolt up and everything would match up. They're pretty much identical. They are 1 year apart and there's a few differences here or there. But let's take a look around this engine bay a little bit more in depth. Also at first glance, if you're wondering if this is a timing chain or a timing belt engine, the way these are housed, it would lead you to believe that this is a timing chain. Well, clearly it's in case where oil is being splashed around. That's a timing chain. But we'll show you in a minute that that can fool you. It's actually not. Everything's pretty easy to work on these. You take a few hoses out of the way and get to the front of the engine. All the belts, radiators, easy to get to. Intake is easy to get to. Maintenance is very, very nice on these. Because of all the space around the engine, these are very easy to work on. There's also a massive aftermarket for any of the modifications for transmission, engine, upgrades, all kinds of things. There's pages and pages and pages online. You can go check for yourself if you want to modify your Miata. One thing we're going to do real quick is pull off the upper valve cover on this 91 and show you that you could be fooled into it being a timing chain. It's actually still a belt. So you can see there what looks like a timing chain case. It's still the old-fashioned belt. The owner of this car, Mr. White, who owns the 91, has informed us that this timing belt is 10 years old. He'd like it to be replaced because he really doesn't want it to snap on him. It's not a hard job on these, but it can be kind of messy. You have to pull the valve cover off, which gets a little oil everywhere, but again, it's not a hard job at all. We'll talk to the lady that owns the other Miata to see if she's had a timing belt done, if maybe it's time to have it done on that one. It definitely is time on the 91. Like I mentioned, we're informed it's 10 years old. Another great thing about these Miatas that people love them for is it's a small Kind of an economical car with a small engine, but yet it's rear-wheel drive, like your old Camaro. And as you can see, the engine's orientated that way, where the timing belt is in the front. When most of us with a front-wheel drive car, we're expecting it to be over in here somewhere. It's up front, like a rear-wheel drive car should be. So that's where we're at with the engine bay of both of these. They both look nice. They both present well. They're not leaky or nasty or gross. Let's take a look at the interiors and let Mrs. Wizard do some comparisons for you between those.
We're in Princess's Miata, the one that's the 1990, and you can see that she has 80,317 miles on this little bitty beast. And lots of gauges in there, a little bit of dust in there as well, but kind of happens when you have convertibles, because when you have the top down, sometimes dust just floats on in here. Has a cute little key up there, but other than the dust, the dash is in really nice shape. We do have some round vents on the side and in the center as well. Have very simple slider controls and a turn knob for our HVAC, and she has upgraded her stereo system to a Pioneer system. So move down, you'll see that it is a 5-speed manual, because Miatas don't come in any other fashion than manual. They don't come automatic. Have our e-brake up because we don't want the car to roll away. As you lift up our center console, you'll see that she has a rag in here. She's got a USB charger in there, and you can see this is where we have the release for the gas cap. The seats are cloth, and she does keep them covered, so they do stay nice, and they are very, very nice condition, other than a little bit of dust and debris, which again happens on convertibles if you leave the top down. But the stitching is all looking good. Nothing is broken, no rips, no foam pouring out of a tear. Door card is vinyl, and a little bit more black vinyl. So if you like vinyl, this is it. This is what you got. I like the little simple, the oval design for our pull, and we have manual windows. As we move over, you'll see we do have our glove box, which has half of a library inside there, but we'll let that stay there. But I love this little light. It's so adorable. It's in such an interesting location. It's convertible. There's nothing in here. There's barely even a shelf. No storage in here at all, except if we were to open that trunk in the back. So, okay, can store not very much in this little bitty car. Otherwise, everything is looking great. The only thing we have on our steering wheel is horn buttons. Let's go look for the differences in the 91. So here we are in the 91, Mr. White's car, and it has 74,662 miles. So he is 10,000 miles behind her. But as we move up, you'll see that the dash is in great shape. Not as much dust in this one, but our vents are the same. We have the same sliders and the knob for our HVAC system. And instead of having a Pioneer system in theirs, they have it upgraded to a Clarion system, which has Bluetooth, which I definitely appreciate. Again, we move back at the exact same 5-speed gear selector and our e-brake. We do have cute little Mazda coasters in our cup holder, and we move back. Wow, this is like deja vu all over again. Exactly what we had over on the other side. We little whatnots in here, and we have, I definitely appreciate the hair clip. Don't know if that's enough to keep the wind down though, but we have our release for the gas cap as well. The seat is exactly the same, has the same material on it, and our door card is also the same as well. Black vinyl, vinyl, and more vinyl. The biggest difference here is in the back is our nice safety roll bar, which I would definitely do appreciate, because if this were to roll, these little headrests are not going to save you, considering my head is at least 4 inches above where that thing stops. Wow, that was a nice trip down memory lane a second time. So let's get one of these on the left to see what they look like underneath.
So you guys saw Junior Man pulling up in the car, got it on the lift for us. Looks like Mario Kart, doesn't it? Like, he's so tall, it's just crazy. Anyways, I give them guys a nice paid break whenever we do filming. They can just chill and take it easy while we get the filming done. So now we have the 90 on the lift. Let's go ahead and do a quick inspection and see what we got going on with it. Don't see much anything going on with leaks or anything in there. We do have our belly pan intact. I don't see any coolant coming down. Check our brakes. About 50% remaining. Nothing loose there. The strut does have some oil coming out of it though. See, it's really dark where my finger is wiggling. That one's blown out. We do see some oil seepage coming from the oil pan area. Could be Yep, it's up there in the valve cover gasket vacuum pump area. You can see straight up. There's a disc-shaped object up there with oil literally dripping off of it. So that's where our oil leak is coming from. Brakes are 50%. This strut is just starting to blow. There's a little bit of oil seepage up there. Nothing else is loose. Everything's okay though. Here's our transmission, and it does have some oil seepage going on, but it's not from the transmission. It's from that oil leak I just showed you. It's blowing all over the transmission. Catalytic converter is intact. We do have this large torque arm like the Camaros had in the earlier days. Goes back to the rear differential. We have a baby little drive shaft, Mrs. Wizard.
Oh, it is so cute.
Seems to be fine though. Everything's good there. Check these wheels here. The struts, yep. You can see there's dirt collecting on the oil that's seeping there, so the rear struts are likely bad. I can see the sway bar link, this bushing is bad. I can put my screwdriver in it. So those are no good. Let's check our brakes. About 50% remaining on those. CV boots are good there. CV boots are good here. Same thing on the sway bar link there, and same thing on the strut there. And we have a really giant muffler for such a little car, little drum-shaped muffler. So it does need all 4 struts replaced. It does have an oil leak and some sway bar links, and some basic maintenance here or there, but nothing drastic. So now I'll snap my finger and the 91 will be on the lift ready for inspection. And here we are. The 91 is up. It doesn't look much different, does it? Let's go up to the front and start from there. So here we are with the 91. We'll do the same checks that we just did. Everything looks good there. Nothing damaged with the condenser. Belly pan is intact. Nothing leaking with coolant wise going on. Brakes are brand new on this one. Struts are not blown. Sway bar link still good. Nothing loose there. Brand new brakes there. Strut is good. Sway bar link is not loose and nothing loose there.
Uh-oh,
we have the
leakage.
same oil leak. Identical oil leak. Let's take a look. So it's all over the oil pan. It's coming straight up from that disc shape again. I think it's a vacuum pump or something on the back. Same exact oil leak, guys. All over here, dripping as well. We do see some blue and white wiring. It's very likely like a speed sensor wiring for that aftermarket cruise control that was added. Same setup here. Catalytic converter is intact. Here's our differential. Here's that wiring. It goes to a magnet, and you can see when the drive shaft spins, there's a little metal magnet or something that passes by it and gives it a speed reading. Aftermarket cruise control doesn't have to be overly complicated. You just have to have a way to give it a speed signal so it knows how fast you're going. Here's our differential. Nothing's leaking there. CV boots are good, struts are good. Brakes in the back are about 80% remaining. CV boots are good here, strut is good. This bushing is a little bit worn as well. Brakes are good here. This one doesn't need struts or any other things that the other one needed, but it does need the same oil leak fixed. Isn't that strange? Identical cars come from 2 different walks of life with identical oil leaks. Must be a common Miata problem. Let's get this thing on the ground. So it may very well be that for the most part we're doing the same work on 2 different cars. That one back there does need struts. They're blown out. But if she hasn't had the timing belt done, and who knows when, it's probably very likely time as well. But we did find the oil leak, it's not a vacuum pump, it's actually a kind of like a distributor. It's a cam sensor. Let's take a look at that. So it's this drum shaped I'm touching right here. It's leaking from that and dripping all over the transmission bell housing and all over under the oil pan. Pretty hefty leak actually. And they both have the same leak. So we'll get some estimates together. One thing that's really interesting is we could have similar repair prices. Depending on what all we find on the inspections, they could be pretty close to one another. Wouldn't that be crazy if they're within a few cents of one another? That'd be insane. But we'll get some estimates together for Mr. White, And for also the lady that owns that Miata, here's one thing that me and Mrs. Wizard joked about. You tell a mechanic to start work on one. We have 2 cars in the shop. We really could start working on the wrong car. This happens in the medical field where they cut someone's arm off that shouldn't have been cut off. It was the other patient. They get things mixed up. That's not going to happen here. We do keep track of everything, but it's definitely something as a shop owner I keep in mind. If I say do a timing belt on this one, but not on that one, and we end up doing it on that one, it can get kind of weird because they're identical. They look the same, so we'll definitely keep that in mind. Luckily, I don't see anything catastrophic on either of them. And one cool thing about the Miatas is that they're not like a modern Mercedes-Benz or a BMW where it's nickeling and diming you to death. Every time you turn around there's a $2,000 or a $5,000 bill. They're very easy to work on. The parts aren't stupid expensive. And they're very reliable. Very, very reliable. So if you want a sports car that's fun to drive around in, you can put the top down, enjoy nice summer weather, but it doesn't cost 50 grand to buy and 5 grand every time you turn around to fix it. A Mazda Miata, or MX-5, they're also known in the newer models, is definitely the ticket. So keep that in mind. We do frequently get 2 similar cars in. One might be black, one might be silver, or 2 different engine packages, or one's an all-wheel drive, one's a rear-wheel drive, or whatnot. But it's very rare. It does happen probably a couple times a year where you get identical cars in. These are probably 95% or more identical as far as the features, the colors, everything with the interior, they match. So it's really cool. I definitely wanted to get a video out for you guys to show the 2 Miata problem we have going on here. Actually, they're not problems at all, and what each of them is going to get and how the repair estimates may actually end up being similar as well. So if you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this Miata and that Miata, or any other car in the shop, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. All the tools we use in the shop are listed for sale there, and you can purchase them. And if you do, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.